Hello folks, and welcome to Supplier Spotlight, the tales of the trade, where we shine a light on incredible wedding suppliers making your weddings extraordinary. Today, I'm joined by an award-winning wedding celebrant from Sudbury in Suffolk with a reputation for heartfelt, beautifully crafted ceremonies. Now, she was recently recognised at the Wedding Industry Awards as the top celebrant in her region, and it's really, really easy to see why. She has a modern, creative approach to rituals with deeply personal storytelling, and she really helps couples to create and shape a ceremony that truly feels like them. So let's dive into the world of wedding celebrants as we meet Ruth from Ceremonies by Ruth. Hello, Ruth. How you?
Hello, Liam. Well, I just listened to your wonderful words of welcome there. Thank you so very much. I just about think my head will fit inside this screen.
Well, that's all right. It's yeah, you're doing a pretty good job. Nice hair, by the way. It looks fantastic.
One's always got to try, darling. One's always got to try.
Yes, very much so. So obviously, Ruth, you're a wedding celebrant, which is different, isn't it, from a registrar? Is that right?
Oh my goodness, Liam. That could be a whole podcast all to itself. Yes. Completely different to a registrar. Completely different. Would you like me very briefly to explain the difference?
Yeah, sure. That's really interesting.
Okay. A registrar is a council employee,
Mm-hmm.
and their task in life is to conduct the legal registration of your marriage.
Okay.
Now, they can do that for you very reasonably priced at the local registry office, or they can charge you a substantial amount and come and do the ceremony at a licensed venue that you may have chosen to celebrate your wedding. A licensed venue, again, that could be a completely different podcast, but it's their job to just conduct the legal registration of your marriage. It's not their job to get to know you really personally. It's not their job to personalize that ceremony, because they have to hear certain words that are constructed in a certain way that make your marriage that legal entity. Then you come on to, what does a celebrant do? Well, a celebrant is completely the opposite to a registrar. Yes, at this present moment in time, sadly, independent celebrants and humanist celebrants in England and Wales cannot conduct the legal aspect of your marriage. However, what we can do is create for you a completely personalised wedding ceremony. It is my job to get to know you. It is my job to find out what you want. It is my job to create for you the wedding ceremony that you've always dreamed of. And that's where a celebrant steps in.
That's great. So how did you discover the world of being a celebrant, and what was it that enticed you into thinking this is what I want to do?
It's a beautiful story, actually. And back in October 2019, our family went to Australia to attend the wedding ceremony of our gorgeous son. And it was the first time that I had ever, apart from funerals, I'd ever experienced what a wedding, what a celebrant does. And I was literally blown away by my son's and daughter-in-law's wedding ceremony. Now, obviously, it was my son's wedding ceremony, so it was going to be super special for me. But even days afterwards, I was still talking about their wedding ceremony. And I said to my son, do you know what, son? That wedding ceremony was just the best. It was you two. It wasn't stuffy. It was fabulous. And he looked at me and he said, do you know what, Mum? I think you'd make quite a good celebrant. And I said, you know what, son? I think I might look into it. So I returned from Australia and I started looking into training to become a celebrant, which I then did with civil ceremonies. And I qualified 4 years ago. I have my diploma in naming and couples. And the rest, as they say, is history.
That's really great. So how would you describe your own personal style in terms of what you do?
My own personal style: caring, warm. I've been told that my voice is quite a nice voice to listen to.
Yeah.
And also, I would say that most of my couples see me as a really safe pair of hands. I tell them, and as I get to know them, that I'll just take care of that part of your day. Any other supplier that touches into your wedding ceremony, your photographer, anybody playing music, any readers, I'll speak to all those people in the week before, in the week leading up to the ceremony, to make sure that we're all coordinated, that everybody knows what part they're going to play in the ceremony and how it fits into the flow of the day. And whatever happens throughout the ceremony, it'll never faze me, because I used to be a driving instructor, so I don't need dual controls for any wedding ceremony that I conduct. Anything that happens, just go with the flow. I just deal with it at that time. So a safe pair of hands, I'd say.
I mean, that's really fair. I mean, obviously, I've seen you a few times at sort of various places, but of course, more recently at the Wedding Industry Awards, which you won. So I think that sort of speaks for itself. How did that feel? How was that moment for you?
Massive. I mean, you probably saw my reaction, and if anybody wants to see my reaction, it's pinned as a reel.
Yeah.
I was in a quiet little number, leopard print and sequins. Every day should be a sequin day, I think. It was huge recognition for me, Liam, because I started my business at 64 years of age. And for me, once I'd qualified, I then thought, I've qualified, but will people maybe want somebody who's a little bit younger, who they maybe feel that's more in touch with them? And I just started, that self-doubt, everything came in.
Yeah.
And you then know that out of all of the other celebrants that had entered the Wedding Industry Awards, that my name was called out as the winner for the East of England, I was literally blown away. And for me, it was recognition that it doesn't matter how old you are when you start a business, if you can form a human connection with people and just be yourself and just deliver what you say you're going to deliver, then you will succeed and you will have recognition for it. So yeah, it was recognition, really.
Yeah, I mean, that really is a thing, isn't it? Because, I mean, for anybody that doesn't know, the Wedding Industry Awards, they're all voted by couples, aren't they? So people who've worked with you and they share their thoughts and feelings
Absolutely.
and their reviews about you. And then, of course, that's all judged. So it really is, it's the greatest concept of how an award should be run.
I was blown away, Liam. Every single one of my couples that I sent the link to for the voting period that they were allowed to vote for, to a couple, they all voted, every single one of them. And in fact, one of my couples even wrote back to me and she said, if one of your couples doesn't vote for you, send me their details and I'll go around and I'll have a word with them.
That's the kind of people you need on your team, isn't it?
They're the sort of people you want having your back.
Yeah.
No, I was literally blown away by the support that I had from my couples. And it was fantastic. Absolutely fantastic experience.
Brilliant. So when you're working with people, what are the kind of questions that you ask when people start planning their ceremony? What's in your head when people first make contact?
When people first make contact with me, my first question to them is, what do you want? What is your vibe? What's the feel for your day? And sometimes couples don't really know the vibe for their day. They might do. For example, I've had country music festival type weddings. I've had castles or teepees. So they've got a pretty strong idea of the vibe, what they want, what they want me to bring to their day. But when you ask most couples, what do you want from your wedding ceremony?
Yeah.
Their answer will be, I don't know. Because the vast majority of couples have never had to arrange a wedding day before, and they don't know what they can bring to their ceremony. Okay. So my job, my love, my passion is to speak to the couples over a period of time and find out about them and find out what will suit what they want for their day, and to just introduce lots and lots of different ideas to them. Some couples will throw ideas back at me and go, oh, Ruth, no, can't think of anything worse. Other couples will say, give me more ideas like that. So it evolves, if you like. Yeah. But my very first question is, what do you want? How have you imagined this perfect ceremony of yours is going to be?
Yeah, that's great. I mean, I imagine as well, there must be an element of inspiring confidence in people in that moment. Because, I mean, I certainly know when I do things like big intros, they say, oh, we want it to be a party zone. And then on the day, they're, oh, we're really nervous. What should we do? And I kind of have a bit of a pep talk I give people. So how do you work through that in advance? How do you convince people to really do what really is their best when they say, we want this, and you think, I know exactly how to make that awesome and how it's going to fit for you. How do you kind of battle those confidence issues?
Just really I would say by instilling confidence in my ability to deliver. And obviously the awards and everything help with that, and all of my lovely Google reviews. But it's just getting to know the couple and them trusting me. This is the difference again between myself and a registrar. You won't know who the registrar who's going to be conducting your wedding ceremony is until maybe 40 minutes before. But all of my couples know me. And I speak to them on a regular basis. And I'll speak just a few days before the wedding ceremony. And I'll be there a couple of hours beforehand just to go and visit, make sure that everybody feels settled. And so many of my couples have said just seeing me a couple of hours before the big moment just calmed all the nerves.
Yeah.
I'll speak to whoever's making entrances, grooms, brides, groomsmen's, wedding crews, whoever we've got making their entrance, and just calm everybody's nerves. And sometimes couples, they might think, oh, we'd like to do that for our wedding ceremony, but we don't quite know if others will approve, or they quite don't think it fits in. And I say, do you want to do it?
Yeah.
And they say, yes, we do. And I say, then we'll do it. And I'll facilitate that for you. And we will make it personal to you. What you want, you will have on your wedding day. Unless, of course, someone wants me to jump out of a plane to deliver the ceremony. Probably would be that's one proviso. Or anything to do with spiders involved in the ceremony, I'd have to probably decline on that one.
Okay.
But within reason,
Have you been asked to
whatever
jump
my
out of a plane
couple.
to do a ceremony?
Pardon?
Have you been asked to jump out of a plane?
No,
Ceremony?
fortunately not.
I was thinking there's a story there. There's a story there.
Yeah, there is. There is. Don't anybody please ask me to do that, because I don't really like heights. But no, whatever my couples want, I will try and always instill in them. It's your day.
Yeah.
It's your day, and you should have what you want within reason, and I'll make that happen for them.
Exactly as it should be. So what kind of things come around for you when somebody says, right, Ruth, what we'd really like to do is this, and you think, yes, I love doing this. What are your favourite things to do?
I really love it when couples include a unity ceremony, and that unity ceremony is basically just a symbolic element within their ceremony. They've generally exchanged their I do vows, possibly personal vows, and they've exchanged their wedding rings, and then we bring it all together. One of the most glorious moments is something called a hand tying, which
Yep.
is a very ancient Celtic tradition, but that again is another podcast. But in very simplistic terms, it shows how a couple feel their future is going to be bound together. And I ask them to hold their hands in a particular way. And I wrap ribbons around their hands. And again, these ribbons can have all sorts of meanings, memories to guests that are no longer with us. All sorts of symbolism can be included within the ribbons. And then as they pull their hands apart, a great big knot is tied in the middle. And I say, yes, I declare you have officially tied the knot.
Yeah.
And guests can then see, oh, that's where the saying comes from, because I've already explained a little bit to the guests beforehand. And it's something visual for guests. And I get my couples to hold it really up high. And, well, generally the guests go crazy and start cheering, and then that is something that the couples have got forever. I say to them, on your first wedding anniversary, take a little look at that knot and just go back to all the gorgeous feels that you had at the moment you pulled the ribbons and tied the knot. So there's all sorts of different things like that. A unity candle, I've got a few of those coming up this year, which is lovely. And just moments that are different within a ceremony, something different for guests to experience as well. Because sadly, guests have sat through many, many boring weddings, and my hashtag is hello, fabulous ceremony. And I'm determined to make that true for every single ceremony.
That's great. That's absolutely good. So what kind of trends have you noticed that are sort of coming around, and things that maybe couples are seeing and thinking that's new and cool and interesting? I'd like to include that.
It's really it's difficult to talk about trends, really, but I have noticed a feel, if you like, in ceremonies developing over the last couple of years. Um, Couples now have generally maybe got their own home. They've maybe got children. They've established themselves in their careers, and they want this day to be completely reflective of them. So gone are maybe the quick little ceremonies that maybe take 10 minutes, and couples now are expressing to me that they really want the ceremony to reflect them, to reflect their completely unique love story. They want people to know why they've asked them to maybe travel from the other side of the world to come to their wedding day. So I think it's a feeling that I'm getting more, that couples want slightly longer ceremonies, and they want their love story to be included and woven into every single aspect of the wedding ceremony, not just well, this is their love story, this is what brought us here together.
Yeah.
Just generally, they want them to be completely reflected in their wedding day. And music. I'm always surprised. Entrance music, exit music, certificate signing music. It's my era's music, you know. I mean, I had Sister Sledge a couple of Saturdays ago, Right Said Fred, Luther Vandross, all sorts of that. And I'm always quite surprised when someone chooses that sort of music and they're only in like their 30s. A lot of country music as well. Luke Combs is very, very popular.
Yeah,
Very
music's
popular,
really
which I adore. I love country music.
That's great. So what kind of changes do you think might evolve in the weddings and celebrants industry in the next few years? Or what kind of changes do you think you'd like to see if you could have anything?
Massive, 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 massive. Number one on my list is wedding law reform. Obviously, it's something that as celebrants, independent and humanist celebrants, we have been campaigning for now for years. And we are still waiting for the present government, which should have been the previous government, to make an initial response to a law reform, the Law Commission's report, which will change root and branch marriage laws within this country, which, as we all know, are completely archaic. Completely archaic. We have a buildings-based system at the moment instead of a people-based system. And the law, hopefully, when it's changed, it will change from a building, which will be licensed for the officiant to go into, to a people-based system. So then wherever I am, that will be the place where you can actually have your wedding ceremony and have the legal registration of your marriage conducted at the same time. And I'll just have to learn that or be trained and recognized and registered to actually then conduct the legal aspect of that and weave those words into my normal wonderful ceremonies. So that will be the biggest change that every single celebrant in this country is, well, I say every single celebrant, vast majority of celebrants are campaigning for and want, hopefully.
Cool. So, I mean, that being the case, then, of course, it sounds like there's sort of huge changes ahead. But at the same time, I guess for the weddings that you've done over the years, you must have seen some really, really fantastic things that like have really kind of stuck in your memory. What are some of the best memories that you have from weddings that you've officiated for?
Oh my goodness, so many. I get emotional at nearly every wedding ceremony because you just invest in your couples, don't you? And to see them having everything that they want, But there was one particular moment, and it was at Hedingham Castle, actually. And I knew that up in the galleries, they've got this amazing ceremony space there. And they've got a gallery, a minstrel's gallery that goes all around. And I knew that there was a beautiful choir up there waiting to step forward.
Right.
So I opened the ceremony and I said, now, but just before we get into this, how about a little piece of music? And this choir stepped forward and they sung a Take That song. Oh my goodness. It reverberated, the acoustics reverberated around there. And it was just fantastic. Everyone was looking up into the gallery. It was I called it my very own Love Actually moment. It was beautiful. And obviously the guests had no idea it was about to happen. And I was so excited to introduce them. And then they sang 2 other different songs, once just before the vows and one on the exit. Fantastic. But just recently, I just have to share this moment just recently that touched me a couple of Saturdays ago. It was one of the most joyous ceremonies that I've ever had the privilege to conduct. They're all joyous, but this one, the guests, and it was the bride's face as she came down the aisle.
Yeah.
They've been together quite a few years, and as she came down, it was the look on her face that just said, we're actually doing this. We're actually doing it. It was joyous. Tears from me, everything. It was the joy. I think that's what stands out to me most of all my ceremonies. It's just the sheer joy of the couple, that they're having a fantastic time and that their guests afterwards say to them, wow, that was a ceremony and a half. That was fantastic. So, yeah.
I think it really is. For me, there's definitely an atmospheric difference in what can sometimes feel like a really clean-cut, dry legal ceremony versus something where somebody like yourself will say, hey, we're going to make it all about you. It's going to be you through and through. You can do anything that resonates with you. Here's the world of ideas. How shall we make it awesome? And I think that's fantastic.
Other suppliers are quite happy when they know it's a celebrant-led ceremony as well. I got to be honest with you. Had a number of photographers say to me, yes, it's a celebrant-led ceremony. That gives them obviously a little bit more freedom for photography, for where they can and where they can't take photographs, and just the sheer opportunities for different things that are going to be included, the different looks on guests' faces as they're completely engaged in the moment, So, yeah, because I always speak to the photographer the week before the ceremony, and I can't tell you the great reaction I get. Yes, it's a celebrant-led ceremony. Fantastic.
I think as well, and it's funny actually, because one of my really good friends got married about 18 months ago. And they actually had a registrar at the ceremony. And there was a really funny thing that came up where when they'd been to register the fact that they were getting married, they went to the office and filled in some forms and they booked it all in. And then on the day the registrars arrived and they had this interview, and then they went down and they were all ready to go. And the bride was about to walk down the aisle, and one of the registrars turned to the other and they had a conversation and they went, just give us 5 minutes, folks. And they grabbed the groom and dragged him outside. And it turned out that on his original birth certificate, he had a different name than what was his current legal name.
Oh.
Yes. And apparently it caused some issues. So 20 minutes later, the 3 of them are still stood outside having this chat. And I just kind of thought, what's going on? You've got all these guests in here. The bride's got no idea what's happening.
What's happening?
And I sort of went over and I said, what's kind of going on here? And he said, oh, there's a bit of a mix-up and this and that and the other, and they're now saying that they might not be able to marry us. And I remember sitting there thinking, oh no.
No. How come that wasn't all sorted out at the giving notice appointment?
Well, indeed. That was one of the questions. But the funniest thing for me was I remember standing there thinking, I'm hosting this day. I'm probably going to have to walk out there in a minute after they've got in the car and driven off because they've got to go down the registry office tomorrow and sort it out perhaps. I might have to walk out there in a minute and make something up so that they can have the moment. And in the end, it all got sorted out. But I remember in that moment sitting, this is just, there's got to be.
Oh, that would be tragic. All of that preparation, all of those dreams, all of the thought process that's gone in to that moment, the music, everything, and it would all be crushed. Oh God, I've never heard the like. That is awful.
But of course, the beautiful thing about having a celebrant like yourself is it's never an issue, right? Because they've
No, it's never an issue.
So yeah,
the legal bit's already been done. The legal bit's already been done. And this is an absolute celebration of your love in a manner and in a tone and with language that suits you, your words, your language, your vibe. So all of that's been done. My only reason for going and seeing people beforehand is not to fill in forms. It's to go and get excited with the Prosecco and the mascara and her hair, really, and just join in that excitement and just give a little bit of guidance as to what's going to happen. Because, sometimes wedding crews don't know where to go.
No.
They don't know what to do. So I just always give them guidance. And if I'm there early enough, and I always say to them, do you want to come and have a quick practice? If your makeup's done, your hair's done, you're ready, whatever, do you want to come and have a practice? A number of them, oh, can we? Of course you can. Come with me now. We'll go and have a little practice.
Yeah.
And then as I see the first of the wedding crews start to appear, they've got eyes on me, and I just smile. And then gently guide them, go into my little air hostess mode, yes, there's space for you here, there's space for you here. Just flows. Flows so much easier. So
thinking about that then, if you had a magic wand, and I think about some of the, Headingham Castle, for instance, phenomenal venue, absolutely brilliant. But if you had a magic wand, what would be your perfect ceremony setting, or maybe a perfect moment that you would love to officiate?
A perfect ceremony setting. Well, my son got married on the beach. Well, they were in a restaurant that was, all the windows were open, doors wide open, Pacific Ocean crashing against rocks. It was absolutely fantastic. And the beach is my happy place, I have to say, where whenever we get time in the car quickly, even if it's New Year's Day in the pouring rain, up to Frinton Beach just to blow the cobwebs away. A beach, I absolutely adore it. And I've often thought to myself, wouldn't it be wonderful to be standing barefoot on the sand and to see everybody gathered there? Yeah, I think the beach with the ocean crashing in the background, I think that would be idyllic.
Fabulous. Yeah, I like that. That sounds great. So, a little bit more about you then. It's the morning of the wedding. You're about to run out the door. How do you take your coffee?
Oh, I don't drink coffee.
Oh, not.
I can't. No, I can't drink coffee. No, I cannot drink it. So I'm one of those people that coffee makes. I know the tea has probably got as much caffeine in it, but I don't know what it is with coffee. Something to do with the bean, obviously. I ain't no coffee person. I grab a peppermint tea with ginger and lemon because I've always got to be thinking of my vocals.
Sounds very healthy as well. And when you're not doing ceremonies, what keeps you busy? What's the thing going on in your world that really gets you excited?
Well, I'm virtually working 24/7, but that sounds a little bit strange to be saying that. But it's my world, it's my passion, so I just work a lot. But I don't really consider it work, Liam. I know that sounds a cliche, but it isn't really, is it, when you're dealing with love?
Yeah.
But I do adore yoga. And I do adore walking. My husband and I love to go for long walks. And if there's a pub at the end of it, obviously that's always an added bonus. But yeah, walking, yoga, and being with my children and my grandson. And we do have a new little granddaughter on the way. So
congratulations.
Very shortly it will be with my grandchildren. The family, my family are super, super important to me.
Fabulous. And if you were going to get married again right now, what would you walk down the aisle to?
Oh my goodness. Well, I had to get married in a church because there wasn't really any option then. And I had to walk down to the traditional.
Yeah.
I would probably, I'm a real old softie. It would probably be Karen Carpenter, The Carpenters, We've Only Just Begun. If you listen to the words of that, white lace and promises, we'll start out walking and learn to run. Because you do. When you actually first get married, you don't really know what you're getting yourself into, truth be told. And it is a little bit of a journey. You do start off walking and you learn to run together. So probably something mushy and romantic like that.
I like that. Okay, so let's get back to the business stuff. What's the best way for people to get in touch with you and find out a bit more about you?
People can contact me either via WhatsApp with my telephone number or my email, ruth@ceremoniesbyruth.co.uk. My Instagram gives a really good feel for my vibe, and there is a contact form on my website,
Brilliant
which
stuff.
they can also do.
Great stuff. So yeah, that's ceremoniesbyruth.co.uk, folks, if you want to go and find out more about Ruth. Also check her out on Instagram and Facebook. I'll put the links for that on the final slide of this video. But Ruth, it's been an absolute pleasure.
And you, Liam. Thank you.
So much, and we'll catch up soon. Take care.
Brilliant. Thanks, Liam. Take care. Bye.
So there you go, folks. That was the fantastic Ruth by Ceremonies by Ruth, bringing you some grace, creativity and warmth to every single wedding that she comes to. Remember, if you want to find out more, just go and visit her website at ceremoniesbyruth.co.uk, and you can find out for yourself how and why she's winning awards and hearts across the region. Thanks also again for joining us here at Tales of the Trade. Stay tuned for more conversations with some more remarkable suppliers who are going to make your wedding days truly magical. Take care, folks. See you then.